Hi there, friends. It's Leah with Pink Fresh. I am going to just give this a minute to let everyone sign in, and I'm going to get this up on my phone. Make sure I don't have any audio so we don't get any weird echoing. Hi, Nikki. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. All right, just checking on my settings here. Okay, I think I've got everything up and running. Hi, Patricia and Heather. Heather is the person behind Pink Fresh today. Hi, Maria and Danielle. Thanks for joining me. All right, so basically, other than doing a tiny little bit of pre-foiling, because we're just going to use the solid plate today, I did not prep much other than taking the sneak peek photos. So we're pretty much going to do most everything together today. So we are going to make a fun rainbow slimline card. Hello, friends. Thanks for joining me. I'm so excited that you guys are here. All right, looks like we have quite a few people joining on. Hi, friends. Okay. So I'm excited to make a slimline card with you today, but before we get this camera flipped over and we get going, just a couple of things first. So we give away a $15 gift card code at the end of every live. Heather picks the winner from the comments. So all you have to do is let us know, not let us know, just hang out with us in the comments, chat with us, ask questions. Once I get this camera flipped around, I don't see as many comments, but Heather does a really great job of answering what I miss. If for some reason we both miss, just ask again. We're not ignoring you. It's just likely that we just didn't see it. Also, if you're new here, let us know. We love to welcome you, of course, and we hope that you will continue to come to our different lives throughout each week. And then, of course, finally, if you're here, give the video a thumbs up. That gives the video more reach for people to be able to find it, both live and on replay. And if you don't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. Hi, friends. Thanks for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, well, I am going to go ahead and get this camera flipped around. So bear with me while we do that transition. And then I will just wait for YouTube to catch up to make sure all is well. I see we have a couple of people who are new. I think I saw a comment from Strawberry and a comment from Carol that this is your first time live, and Kirsty, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have pre-foiled the You Sparkle with Generosity sentiment. The whole reason why I pre-foiled it is because I wanted the negative. And over here on my glimmer machine, I have my solid plate heating up, all prepped and ready to go. And we are going to try to foil the negative piece of the You Sparkle with Generosity. You know, I think I got a pretty good foil on the first one, so we should get a pretty good foil job on the negative. And foiling is always a little nerve-wracking live because sometimes things don't always go exactly the way you want, but I know I'm among friends and that's okay. Oh, welcome to Lisa. All right, I'm going to click the little timer. I have been preheating this plate a little bit longer. I like to preheat the solid plate just because it is quite solid and quite large, a little bit longer than the actual timer time. So just a little tip for you. You certainly don't have to. I think it just makes me feel a little bit more confident when I am foiling. Oh, looks like some people are starting to get their solid plate foil orders. That's so awesome. One tip that I want to give you guys is make sure that you don't get frustrated the first time you use it if it doesn't work out perfectly. You might need to add a couple of shims. I know that when I started playing with mine, I add about 160 pound in shims for mine to make it work properly. And that is really just dependent on your die cut machine. Both my Glimmer machine and my Platinum 6 are fairly older. And so I think my pressure might be a little different compared to newer machines. So just keep that in mind. Oh, and there's no reason to be scared of the machine. Honest truth, if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. We make mistakes all of the time. And you just try it again, or you use what happens, because homemade is not meant to be perfect. I just want this to be a little more solid. Okay, as you can see, we've got our little timer ticked off here. So I'm going to prep my desk real quick for running this through my platinum. You won't be able to see it all because I don't have like the biggest desk space here, but I will show you absolutely everything that I can. Okay, so this is prepped and ready. The first thing that I like to do is I actually like to remove the base from the platform. And the reason being is sometimes your stuff can shift. Like, as you can see, the hot plate moved a little bit, and I don't like having all of that move when I have all of the stuff on it. So then you want to take your negative foil and place it pretty side down onto your hot foil plate. Place your cardstock over top of it, and then go ahead and add your hot foil plates and any shims that you might need. And then we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to move the base out of my way a little bit, and we're just going to slowly run it through the Platinum 6. Okay. And here is hoping that we got a good job. Now, I was watching a live by Nicole Spohr the other day, and I think I watched it on replay, and she had a great tip. So grab your foiled piece here, and wow, that really stuck down. Sometimes it takes a minute to get the plastic piece peeled up. But she said, if you feel like you're not getting a very good foil, to just put it back, but actually this is doing quite well. And so I don't have to do that. That one, kind of messed up a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to die cut it, and I don't think anybody will notice at all. And then you've got this beautiful foiled sentiment. I could even put a little, I'll probably end up putting like a little embellishment over that top, because I don't want to redo it, because for the most part, it ended up perfect. Oh, Luann didn't realize that there was the release paper to pull off. Yes, sometimes if your foil doesn't hang over top of your paper, it's hard to know that, and it really sticks down there. So I totally get that. So then you've got your negative piece, friends. So that is how cool this hot foil plate is. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Like I mentioned, my little spot down here did not foil perfect. It kind of grabbed up. And I'll just put a little thing to cover it, and no one will ever know. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my desk up from the foiling stuff. I just wanted to give you that fun demo using one of our previous hot foil releases. Okay, so a cool tip I learned from Jennifer McGuire is that the Misty magnets actually grab this big, huge solid foil plate really well. So then I have my little heat mat over here to the left that I'm going to set it on to cool off. All right, I'm not going to do any more foiling, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my machine off and put it away and clean my desk up, and we are going to do a little bit of ink blending now, friends. So give me just a minute while I transition my desk around here. Okay, we will die cut that sentiment a little bit later, but we're going to go ahead and work on ink blending our background. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. And I realized that I don't think I even showed, this is the hot foil plate that I had pre-foiled before we started the show. So it's this great foil plate. It says, "You sparkle with generosity." The great thing is you can, all of the words die cut apart, and you'll see that when we go to die cut. so that you could use some of it separately or together. We're going to use the whole thing together when we start to assemble our card, but it's a really great and fun sentiment. Okay, so today I'm going to use the Slimline Double Chevron stencils for my background, and we are going to ink blend a really fun rainbow background. So I have my panel, excuse me, cut down to 8 5/8, 3 5/8 by 8 5/8. Sorry about that. Which is basically the exact width and dimension of the stencil. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of tape on the back of my cardstock here. And I'm going to tape it down to my desk, and then we will go ahead and get to ink blending. Now, I do know that solid plate is out of stock, but I also know that people are starting to get their solid plate in their orders. So I just wanted to keep showing it because the solid plate isn't going anywhere. It is certainly on reorder. And I knew that people that did order it are going to start wanting to use it. So I thought it would be great to have a little bit more inspiration out there in lives for people that are just getting their orders. Okay, so I'm going to grab this is 3M delicate surface painter's tape. I'm going to grab a few pieces and you will see why here in just one moment. So this double chevron has 2 stencils, but I really, really like to, oh, you know what? I'm wrong. I just want to use the one. So you've got this where you can kind of layer on more, what's the word I'm looking for? You can layer on more colors. But actually what I would want to do instead is just have these cool chevrons right here. Just create a little bit of white space on my panel. So I am going to omit this stencil with the wider chevrons, and we're just going to use the one. You can use them together, which is always a fun option. You can use them layered, so stencil one and then stencil the other. My suggestion is if you're going to do that, you stencil the wider one first. But today I am just going to use the single stencil to have a little bit of added white space. Oh, thank you, Lori. That's super nice. That's super kind of you to say. Okay. And I am just going to tape this stencil down because it's a long one. So I like to tape it down on all 4 sides so I don't run the risk of it moving on me. And then let's go ahead and get our little things here so Heather can easily see the colors that I'm using today to start off. So we're going to go in rainbow order, but to start off, I'm going to start with Sparkling Rose and move into Candy Apple. Okay. And you know what, friends? I feel like, okay, I'm going to make a small adjustment. Sorry. We have plenty of time to that. I think this card's going to go fairly quick. It's just a little close to the ink pads. So I am going to just adjust my desk here a little bit. So bear with me for a second while I get this placed again. I did not realize how close I was to the corner. All right. And I'm going to do, so I typically do a 4x9 slimline card, but today I am actually going to go a little bit smaller. So we're going to do a 3.5 by 8.5 slimline card today. So I'm actually going to end up trimming this chevron down a bit, even a bit smaller than it is already. All right. So no rhyme or reason. I'm not masking because I don't mind if the colors blend into one another. I actually prefer that, to be honest. So we're starting with a good amount of pink because I know a little bit of it is going to get cut off at the top. So Lisa is asking how you use the Slimline dies with the Spellbinders Platinum. Now, I am unsure if Spellbinders has extended plates or not. If Spellbinders makes an extended plate, that's an option. If not, you just need a double cut, because I know that our Slimline dies are a little bit bigger than the Spellbinders platform. And so to double cut, all you do is you put a portion of it in, run it through. You don't have to run it through all the way, then pull it back out and then put the rest of the die back in and finish die cutting. And that will allow you to cut it all. So hopefully that helps and makes sense. If you catch some of Heather's lives, she typically uses a Spellbinders Platinum. So maybe rewatch some of her lives because she does show it quite often. All right, we're moving on to Candy Apple. Candy Apple is quite dark, so I am going to be fairly light-handed with it. Okay. And because Candy Apple is also so dark, I am going to wipe my stencil off a little. Okay. All right, we're going to switch inks up here. So we're on to oranges and yellows. So that is going to be, excuse me, going to use Clementine and Sunshine for my orange and yellows today. Okay. Hi, Daniel. I see you're just joining us. Welcome. We're happy you're here. Okay, let's get our orange layer in here. A little bit of blending up into that red. Okay. Oh, Lori, thank you. So Lori made a comment. She saw my Instagram stories over the weekend that I was actually so I was on the cheer squad or the spirit squad when at my alma mater where I went to at the University of Montana, and we had our alumni spirit squad game this past weekend. I had quite a bit of drama trying to get there. I was supposed to arrive Friday night at 11, a little after 11. And my flight from here kept getting delayed and delayed. And then they delayed it to the next morning. And then they kept delaying it. And I only ended up arriving in Missoula about an hour before everything was supposed to begin. So super stressful, but I had the best time. It was super fun being down on that field again and reminiscing about my time as a University of Montana girls cheerleader. So it was super fun. And the new generation of cheer at U of M they're just amazing, and they're just bright lights. So it was just a fantastic weekend. So thank you, Lori, for mentioning that. I really did have a great time after the stress of trying to get there. Oh, Danielle, this is a super fun stencil. And it's really fun in rainbow. It's really fun in lots of different colors. So, okay, so that was our sunshine layer. So let's change our inks out again. So we have our green and our blue, which of course I am going to change out blue for aqua, which is pretty normal. But we're going to go with key lime for the green. First things first, let me make sure my desk is cleaned down. And this stencil, friends, I think we released this one last October, I believe. So it's not a new stencil by any means. It's been around for Pink Fresh for a little while now. We're just trying to bring back some products that you might have in your stash and kind of freshen them up and give them a new look. Thank you, Donna. That's super nice. Yeah, I think a lot of flights were canceled over the weekend, and it was super frustrating and super stressful because they weren't really they weren't being very transparent, I guess, about why everything was getting delayed. So I would have probably felt better had they been a little bit more forthcoming with information. Okay, so we're going to move on to aquamarine. People are asking if the cubes are back in stock, and no, they aren't yet. We're just waiting for our supplier to ship them to us. I have a feeling that we've had another little delay. So bear with us. We're just as frustrated as you guys are because we've had them on reorder for ages. But it's the one thing that supply chain is just killing us on. So thanks for being patient and continue to be patient with us. Oh, thanks, Danielle. I'm glad that you're enjoying this one in rainbow. Okay. I think I need to re-ink my aquamarine ink pad. I feel like I'm having a hard time getting the color on here. So that may be on the agenda once live is over. Okay, that's probably good enough though. We've got one final color to ink blend in, and that is Candy Violet from our purples. And this is the final layer, friends. And then we have some die cutting to do because like I mentioned, when I jumped on, I just haven't had a whole lot of time to prep. So I pretty much only prepped that one pre-foiled piece and only really took the sneak peek image. That's really all I had time for today. So we're going to be doing a lot of this process together. So we'll hopefully be a little chatty because I know that die cutting can be a little boring. Okay. Hi, Dee. I don't think I saw you jump on, so I wanted to say hello to you, friend. Glad you're here. Yeah, Angela was saying that she had a flight that was supposed to take off at 11. I was in kind of a similar situation this weekend. My flight was actually supposed to take off around 9 something, and we were to arrive in Missoula a little after 11. And then after they hemmed and hawed and everything for a while, they ended up canceling the flight until the next morning at 7:30. And then when we got there about 6 o'clock, they started telling us that they didn't have a captain for the flight, and they just kept pushing it back and pushing it back. And, you know, considering I needed to be at the game, you know, by like 12:30, I was super stressed and we were definitely pushing it. So I think I'm going to go back in a little bit on the pink and add a little more pink because I feel like I don't love how the blending is on top. So keep that in mind, friends. If you're ever looking at your blended piece and you're thinking, I don't really love that, go in and just add a little bit more. I think what I didn't love is that the red didn't smoothly blend into that pink. So by me adding a little bit of pink, I'm going to smooth that line out there. Okay, there, that is so much better. I'm glad I saw that and could fix that a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to wipe the stencil down so that I don't get ink all over my fingers and ruin this lovely rainbow panel we have here. Let's move, I don't think I need these anymore, so I'm going to move these out of my way. And let's take this stencil off and check out the fun reveal. Isn't that super fun? I love how it turned out. Okay. So while we're here, I'm just going to go ahead and show you this because I think we've got time. We don't typically do this on camera, but I'm going to go ahead and clean my stencil. And so the way that I clean my stencil, that's stamp cleaner, is I have a spray bottle of rubbing alcohol. This is just standard rubbing alcohol that you get at the grocery store or at a pharmacy, anything like that. And I just spritz my stencil down a couple of times, dependent upon how big it is, and then just take a dry lint-free cloth and gently rub over. Now, when you've got stencils with kind of delicate pieces like this one Chevron does, you don't want to like rub. You kind of want to wipe in direction of the stencil so you don't run the risk of bending or I don't think you could snap the stencils, but you can certainly bend them. And then I like to flip it over, just do a quick wipe down on the back, although don't typically get a ton of ink on the back, but I like to check it just to be sure. And then your stencil is nice and clean. It is already dry, friends. So I can go ahead, layer it on top of the stencil I didn't use and put it back in its packaging, or you could reuse it again. So Kathy K is asking if we sell that bottle. No, that's just a glass bottle that I got on Amazon. Super easy to find. Okay, so I think we can do a little bit of die cutting now. So as I mentioned, I am going to make a little bit smaller of a slimline card than I normally do. Get these tapes out of my way here. So I'm gonna get my die cut machine set up. And so you're gonna notice, so last week I did buy that larger Gemini, and I think that I like it for when I'm using stuff that's bigger, but I still like my junior for on my desk. So I kind of think I found a setup where I have the larger Gemini available if I need it, but the junior is still gonna be my go-to. Okay, so in our slim stitched rectangles, we've got the larger stitched rectangle that is 8 and 3/8 by 3 and 3/8, or excuse me, 3 and 5/8 by 8 and 5/8. My goodness, friends, I am on the struggle bus with those numbers. But there's also nested in it this smaller one, and I don't know the exact dimensions of it, so let's take a look. It is 3, I'm assuming, by 8, 3 by 8. And so this is going to mat perfectly into the 3.5 by 8.5 slimline card that I have already created for this card. I love the 4x9s. I use them a lot, but I also wanted to show that if you prefer the 3.5 by 8.5 inch cards, that many of our slimline product is also perfectly usable for that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this die nice and centered on my rainbow panel first. Okay. I like to make sure I've got it nice and straight before I tape. And then I'm just going to put tape on the sides of the die. I don't like putting tape over top of my ink blended panels because I feel like even if it doesn't stick, it leaves a residue. And I don't like to run any risk of accidentally pulling up my ink blended panel. So I like to just put tape right on the very sides of my die, and then anything that's on the outer area, it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to use it. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this through my machine real quick. Betty, this die set is our slim stitched rectangles. I think that might be what you're asking about. And within our slim stitched rectangles, there are 4 dies. So there's 2 that are stitched, 2 that are standard. And we base our slimline dies. Now I'm not going to stumble over these numbers this time. We base our largest slimline dies off of a die size of 8 and 5/8, excuse me, 3 and 5/8 by 8 and 5/8. I did stumble. That is a genuine slimline sized card. That 3 and 5/8 and 8 and 5/8 mats perfectly into a 4x9 sized slimline card, which fits perfectly into a size 10 business envelope, like a standard financial envelope. I used the smaller slim stitched rectangle, which is 3 by 8, which mats perfectly within a 3.5 by 8.5 sized slimline card. Now, interesting enough, I actually created a red slimline card, which I don't actually think I love. I think I'm going to make a white slimline card for this. So we're probably going to cut a card together soon in just a minute. Okay, now let's go ahead and also get our foil sentiment cut out as well. So this is that reverse foiled sentiment that we used just a little bit ago. I am going to get the die nice and lined up. Now, when you're using these dies that are one piece and they line up with multiple items, I always find it a little bit easier if you are looking directly over top of the die to line it up. Because if you're at a little bit of an angle, you run the risk of, you know, the die just being very slightly off. So I like having kind of being up and over top of it, and then go ahead and run it through die cut machine. Okay, so Flora is asking what type of cardstock we use for best results. We do know that right now it's a little bit harder to find, in part because the hammer mill has really made its way out there in the crafting world. And I think also just because they are also probably struggling a little bit with supply chain, just like everyone is. Now look at how fun those reverse pieces are. They're so sparkly and shiny. Let's get all of the little parts out. Now, like I mentioned, this die cuts every word out so that you can kind of put it, you can keep it there as you exactly as shown. But the great thing is you can also just use pieces of it, of the sentiment, and you can also rearrange it. I'm probably going to use it mostly as shown, but I love that you get the option with the die. Oh, anyway, I don't know that I answered the question about cardstock. So Hammermill 100-pound smooth white cardstock is the one we typically use. I know right now it's a little hard to find. So, but that is our preference because it foils beautifully, it ink blends beautifully, it stamps beautifully. And from what I have heard, I don't color with alcohol markers or anything, but I've heard it's really beautiful for Copics and alcohol-based markers as well. Finally, we have one more thing to die cut, and that is we're gonna die cut this small braided oval just from some white cardstock. Forgot to grab my couple pieces of white cardstock here. And it is going to be where we kind of pop that sentiment up off of the card. Looks like we have a tip that you can get the Hammermill cardstock at Target. So definitely be sure to check that out. I think I'm gonna have to grab one more piece of white cardstock to cut out a second one. So I like to have a second layer. Just gonna get those little chunks, those little tiny pieces out. I like to have a second layer for all of my pieces like this so that I can make them a little bit sturdier. So we're gonna go ahead and cut that oval one more time. Just trying to find a piece of scrap cardstock here. So let's run that through one more time. Okay. And then we have to take a little bit of time to pop all the little middles out. They won't take too much time. They're pretty easy, but I definitely don't want them to be in the card. We can definitely chat as we do that. Where did that go? Margaret is asking me what my sandwich is on my Gemini. It is all of the same things that you always use in your sandwich. They happen to be taped together, and I do them in a little bit different order. I believe I learned this on Jennifer McGuire, but it's just a clear cutting plate, the magnet, which I'm basically just using as a shim, and then the plastic shim, and then I have them taped together. So it's the same sandwich that you use that's in your Gemini manual, just in a different order. Okay, so let's go ahead and get all of the little pieces popped out of these, and then we'll get them glued together. And that will just take a minute, and I can watch comments a little bit while I'm doing this. Danielle, I'm not sure if you can get the hammer mill cardstock anywhere but online. I pretty much shop for everything online, so I'm a little unsure if you can find it at brick and mortar stores, to be honest. So I know it's Target online. When it's available, it is on Amazon. If you're wanting to buy like a whole box of it, so like what I have done on Amazon is actually I've subscribed to buying a full box of the cardstock, and I just get it every 6 months or so. Just because I use the cardstock a lot. I use it when I'm kitting for classes. I use it for myself. So you could always split that with someone. So be sure and look for that too, because while there might not be single packs available, you may be able to get a whole box of them, and then you could split that with someone or have it just for, years and years on end. So just an idea though. I'm glad you guys like the braided oval. I haven't broken this die out in a long time. It's got these cute little circles that you got to pop them out. For some reason, some people, I feel like their little middles pop right out. I feel like mine, the die cuts so well that they kind of stay in place. So I don't mind doing a little bit of extra work though, because it looks really nice when all is said and done. And we've got plenty of time today. I am not behind in any way, shape, or form, which it seems like a lot of weeks I am. So we are actually good to go. And I have a little dog who needs some help. So give me just 1 second. Hey, buddy, there you go. He needed a little bit of help into his bed. So he is 17 years old and blind. So we're just thankful he's still with us, but he needs a lot of help sometimes. I know, Danielle, it's not for everyone to buy a huge box of cardstock. I do it because I use it pretty much exclusively. I kit projects out a lot of times for classes, for online classes and such. So it makes sense for me to buy a big box of it. It would probably only make sense for other people to buy a big box of it if you could share it with fellow crafters. I see Luann said her wish list is growing. I totally get that. Okay. Let's see here. Get these last little tiny holes cut out, and then we'll get this guy glued together. We have had our Yorkie, that's our little 17-year-old dog. We have had him since he was 8 weeks old. I think it was 8 weeks. I think we got him a little too early, but we were young. We didn't know that. So, but we have had him since he was just a tiny little baby. And now he's 17 and blind, and we never know how much longer we have with him, but so far so good. He's still in relatively good health other than the blindness. And he's sometimes grumpy, but I guess that can be expected. Yeah, I feel like the taping thing has saved some warping, and I do also feel like the magnet being in the middle also saves me from having to replace that magnet all the time, because I always felt like the magnet itself got super warped when you were using it against your dies. So that's another thing to keep in mind on that sandwich. Okay, we got all the tiny little insides cut out of that. I know that was kind of tedious, but thank you for hanging in there with me while we did that. So let's go ahead and get this guy glued together just to make it a little sturdier. Actually, a little bit too much surface area. Let's grab some of this liquid glue. I'm just going to dab a little on the outsides here. Oh, I see lots of people chatting about their cute little fur dogs, fur animals, fur babies, whatever they're called. Okay, let's get these lined. I think I maybe need to flip this. Ha, that is why it was not lining up well. Okay. Okay, so we've got this glued together, which just makes it a little sturdier. I'm still gonna, of course, pop it up with foam tape as well. But I just like adding that second layer. I know that it's a little extra work and a little time consuming popping out all the middles, but I love adding just a little bit of added rigidity to the die. So as I mentioned, I'm going to have to cut a new card panel because I cut red thinking I was going to like that, but I don't think I do. So I think I want to cut a white panel. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some white cardstock and get this panel trimmed down. So the great thing about creating a 3.5 by 8.5 card from white cardstock is you actually already have your 8.5-inch side ready. So you just have to trim it down. And so what you get that, so when you take 3.5 times 2, it's 7. And then 11 minus 7 is 4. So if you just go ahead and trim off 4 inches off of your card or your cardstock, you've got a nice big extra chunk that you can use for die cutting, stamping, lots of other things. And you only have to make that one cut to create your card. And then we'll go ahead and score it and fold it at the 3.5 mark on your score tool. In the hammer mill, you get 250 sheets of paper in the ream, so in one package. Okay. So there is our card base here. And let's go ahead and start assembling our card. You guys know me, we're going to end up popping most of this up with foam. So we're going to take some time to get all the foam tape adhered to these cards. Okay. I need to make some Slimline foam adhesive sheets from white craft foam and score tape, but I just haven't had a lot of time lately, so I am using tons of 3M foam tape these days on Slimline and mini Slimline cards. Got to get better about using or creating some of those full-size sheets for other card sizes I've been making. Okay, so I like to adhere sideways, so I make sure that the card is the correct way because I want it to go from the rainbow gradient from pink to purple, top to bottom. And then I go ahead and get this nice and centered. I always take a little bit of time to get that panel nice and centered in the card. Okay. And then we're going to put this right in the middle. Got a little bit of adhesive on my oval there. And so if you have an adhesive eraser, it's super easy to get that right off and it doesn't ruin your paper underneath. It just really erases that adhesive on there. So these are handy little tools to have on hand when you make little mistakes like that. All right. Thanks, Nancy. I agree. I think the white is nicer. It's brighter, it's cleaner. I don't know what made me think I would love red, but I did not love red on this one, so that's okay. I think it was maybe that there wasn't enough white space on this to make the red look correct. Okay, let's go ahead. So Lisa is asking, okay, so with this 2-part stencil, the one I used is actually technically stencil number 2. So if you were to use them together, you would technically do the first stencil in lighter colors and this stencil in darker. So yes. Crystal, yes, this is our double chevron layering stencil set that I used for my card today. I'm just going to kind of center this as much as I can. Oh, I think I'm just seeing that a couple people have lost their doggies, and I'm so sorry to hear that. I know that's going to be a very hard day when it happens to us. So I'm very sorry to hear about that. All right, and then I have these thin little strips of foam tape that we're going to use to pop the rest of these up. Even this might not be thin enough for that guy. I think if I use it in small little amounts, it will work though. Yeah. Okay. And of course, now he wants back out. So give me 1 second here, friends. There you go. Okay, back at it. All right, so that doesn't show up too much. So let's go ahead. And I'm gonna glue these down. Actually, I'm gonna kind of put this on here and see what looks best before. Thank you, Lori, I appreciate it. Okay, you sparkle. I want that to hang off there as much. Okay, so I think we're good to go ahead and kind of glue some of these pieces down. All right. This is the fussy part, just getting all of the foam tape on and it glued down. In the end, it's definitely worth it when all is said and done. Thank you for answering about the ink cubes. We're still waiting, friends. Your best bet is to sign up for a restock notification because you'll get a little email as soon as we restock them. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you like the oval. I thought that it would be perfect for popping this super shiny sentiment up on. And then I hadn't used it in a while, and I want to make sure that I don't ignore really great products. I gotta make sure that's straight. Just because we have lots of great products. So I do want to make sure that I'm using up as much as I can. So let's just get a little tiny piece on the W here. These little tiny sentiments, they don't need much to stay up. So I'm just trying to find a couple of areas on them where the they won't show too much underneath. So Erica is asking if you want to do an embossed layer, that you do it last. I think that's kind of up to you, because it just depends. You can always wipe embossing down if you want to ink blend over top of it. So it kind of depends if you want to get that kind of pooled ink blendy look that happens when you do the ink blending over the embossing. If you want it to be super clean underneath, then I would emboss second. Yes. So it kind of depends on the look you're going for, to be honest. One thing about embossing on ink blending, though, is just because dye ink dries really quickly doesn't mean that it's fully dry right after you ink blend. So you definitely want to make sure, though, that you your panel is either dry or that you, I don't think I even need that on there. Oh yeah, that's fine. Or that you heat set it before you go, because if you try to pour embossing powder on ink that still is a little wet, it's going to stick. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, also use your powder tool, your anti-static powder tool, very generously when you're wanting to emboss on an ink blended background as well. Yes, Lori, the use sparkle part without the generosity, would it be perfect? And I bet in all of our Christmas stamps, we have a stamp that could, like another sentiment that could be like a really great complementary secondary sentiment for that use sparkle. Okay. So there is our super sparkly sentiment. Like, how fun is that? Okay. No, our ink manufacturer didn't change. I'm not sure if somebody said that that happened, but no, our inks are exactly the same. We're just waiting. Just waiting for our order. Okay, let's finish this card off. Throw a little bit of bling on it. I am thinking I want to add, I'm not completely sure if I want to add glacier jewels or just the clear crystals. So I'm going to pull both out real quick and we will see. All right. I know that I'm don't have too many of the bigger crystals, so it might have to be like 2 medium-sized crystals and then a small guy, which actually probably works just fine. Okay. Actually, our inks are made in the USA, so they're not on a boat in the coast. It's just taking some time to get them manufactured. Okay. I think I like it just like that with the crystals. Sheila is asking what the difference is between these two sets. I actually put the wrong lids on them. Hold on, let me fix that. So we have our Essentials Jewels mix and then our Essentials Crystals mix. And the difference between them is that our jewels are flat-backed and iridescent, and our crystals are clear and diamond shaped. So just to show you, so you'll see I am gluing down the crystals on my card today, and I'll do that in just a minute. But the crystals are great for shakers because they are technically diamond shaped. And I don't know how well I can show this on video, but you can glue them down on their flat top and the little pointy bottom sticks out. And it works really great for creating clear, adding clear elements for embellishments to your cards, but they're also really fun in shakers. So that is the difference between the two of these. Okay, so let's get these guys glued down and then we are done today with this card. And one thing when you're using the crystals, I don't know that you'll be able to see this on the video, but I can see it, of course, as I'm gluing them down. They're beautiful and clear and crystal, of course, when you are looking at them without glue. And then when you add the glue underneath, it almost looks a little bit like they get kind of cloudy. Never fear, liquid glue dries clear. And so it's just that the glue is still wet. And once that glue dries clear, your crystal will go back to being crystal clear. Oops, flinging crystals around here. That one did not, of course, now, there we go. Man, it does not want to let go. I think I need to see what's up with the top of my jewel picker there. Okay. Bling box. Okay, friends. That is my card for today. Kind of a fun little rainbow card, super sparkly and shiny with the sentiment. I don't know if I mentioned that is Aura colored foil from Spellbinders. It's their iridescent gold, so that's where you get that little bit of rainbow feel to it. All right, friends, I am going to get this camera switched around real quick, so give me a minute. While I do that, I guess I can leave that card there for you. And we will find out who the winner is of today's gift card, and then I will let you guys go. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this card, and I hope you have some of these products that you will recreate it. If you don't have a foiling machine with the Use Sparkle with Generosity sentiment, just switch it out for something else, and maybe heat emboss it in gold to give it that super shiny gold feel. Okay. Oh, and I think Heather answered a question for me. The embellishment tool I was using is the embellishment wand by Studio Katya. I think they're very hard to find right now. Also, I think if you look like jewel picker up on Amazon or maybe nail art tool, you can find things that are similar. And then of course, there's also the crystal katana. Lori, no, Jeff isn't on this Saturday. We had craft hour last Saturday and Emily Midget was our guest. So if you guys missed craft hour last Saturday, be sure to check it out on replay. It was a great show. Heather was the moderator because, as I mentioned, I was at my Spirit Squad alumni game in Montana over the weekend. But I feel like I haven't seen a winner yet, so let me know if I just missed it. I don't think I've missed it. So let me know if I did though. So anyway, I lost my train of thought. So be sure to catch the replay of craft hour this past Saturday. I don't think we have another craft hour scheduled. Oh wait, we do. We have one more craft hour scheduled at the end of October, and then we are taking November off, just so you're aware. But we will have one more craft hour at the end of October with a very special guest that we're very excited about. Oh, there we go. Congratulations to Cynthia Johnson. You won today's $15 gift card code. All you have to do to claim your prize is email me, and that's leah@pinkfrestudio.com to claim your prize. My name is only spelled L-E-A, so make sure you don't put an H on the end of it when you write that email. And give me about 2 to 3 days to answer. So someone's asking me where my brushes are from, and my ink blending brushes are mostly Tailored Expression blending brushes with a couple of life-changing brushes from Picket Fence Studios thrown in there for colors that I don't have like the colored brush for. So congratulations, Cynthia. I'll look forward to seeing your email so I can get that gift card code sent over to you. Join us on Thursday at 12 noon Central Time for Facebook Live with Heather. And I think those are our 2 lives this week. So be sure to join us. I don't know what Heather's doing yet, but I am sure it will be lots of fun and very creative. All right, friends, I'm going to let you go for today. Hopefully we'll see you on Thursday at noon over on Facebook. Other than that, have a